Okay, welcome everybody to our council meeting of January 19th. And I guess everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda. I'll need to get an approval on that. Moved by Councilor Gerard, seconded by Deputy Mayor Headley. Be resolved that the Council of Town Neepawa approve the regular meeting agenda for January 19th, 2021. All in favor? Carried. And if everybody's had a chance to review the minutes and there's no errors or omissions, can we move forward with a motion on that? Moved by Councilor Pundle, seconded by Councilor Kosachuk. Be it resolved that the Council of Town Neepawa approve the minutes of the regular meeting held January 5th, 2021 as circulated. All in favor? Carried. Okay. We have a presentation from Ron Norton tonight in regards to arts board. So Ron, go ahead.
All right. Yes, it is Ron Norton. I just asked. We could have said anyone. You could have said me. So thank you very much for having arts board, allowing arts board to come out again this year and present. We always want to make sure we come and see you somewhere in January, just to make sure you don't forget about us. So we're hard to forget about. We're like that thing that itches. You got to scratch it all the time. Last year I came here, and I know that it's the same counselors, and we had lots of pictures, and we talked about all of the things that Arts Forward does. I think some people think it's an art gallery, period, or it's a place where you get piano lessons, period. But it's so many things. And on a normal year, that's what Arts Forward does. But this year, the reality, we are close, but we're still awesome. And we can't wait to be awesome when we open again. We, since COVID hit, we're certainly closed more than we've been open. And when we are open, we're only open for certain things. And of course, we have to have the same restrictions as everybody else. But the nice thing is, you can't see that quite good enough. But it says at the top there, that we do have the capacity to have 25 people in there and still allow physical distancing. So even when we were in level orange, we had lots of rentals. This year we had a very good year. We had way more rentals than we anticipated. Even when we were in orange, we had lots of rentals. People were using it because it was a facility that they could space out and have a meeting of 8 or 10 or 12 people. So we still have lots of rentals. So it's a very important facility in town, and we're doing our best to keep it affordable. We have one paid employee. Last year when I came here, I said we had 1.5 paid employees, and we did last year. However, our bookkeeper quit, and right around the time that COVID hit, and it was just didn't seem to make any sense to hire a person, and we have not rehired a bookkeeper. So Rain has been doing the work of 1.5 people, except of course we haven't had as many people coming through. There has been things going on, so we've got one paid employee, sort of, because at the end of December we laid Rain off. We're hoping that we can open up again very quickly. So right now, I guess currently we have 0 paid employees, but we're hoping very soon we get back to 1 paid employee. We've got a volunteer board and lots of great volunteers that do lots of work around our facility to help us save some money. Today I want to just concentrate on one thing, that is, we are working very hard to get our fiscal house in order. The last number of years, we've been trying to balance our budget, and when I came here last year, I presented a budget that was $12,000 anticipated loss for 2020. However, we did a lot of things. We'll talk about what we did in a minute. We did a lot of things, and at the end of February, when COVID hit, we were actually on track to balance the budget. So, an anticipated $12,000 loss, we did things that it looked like we were on track to balance the budget. Then, COVID came. When COVID came, take a look at 2020. We didn't balance the budget. We almost made $29,000. We did really well. So if COVID stays, we're going to be great financially in the future. No, and I'll tell you what happened. I mean, some of that was federal and provincial money that helped us out, but there was a lot of things that we did as well. So I just want to point out that the last couple of years, 2018 we lost almost $11,000, 2019 about 12, and in 2020 when I came here, there was a bracket under 2020, a red bracket that said $12,000 loss again and again. As I say, we actually made almost $29,000. And the most important thing is under 2021, you can see our income expenses are much lower. Of course, that's our best guess. We don't know when we can open up again, but our best guess is approximately a balanced budget. So we've been working very hard to get our fiscal house in order, that's for sure. So we were able to increase revenue last year. We did something
Can you
new.
go back to that previous one?
Sure.
Missed the line at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the little asterisks. I mean, we can balance the budget if we get the same amount of money from the town of Neepawa that we got last year. So that's, I guess that's a little caveat there. If we don't, of course, we can't balance the budget. So we were able to increase our revenue. The biggest thing that we did was we had a sponsor. We created a sponsorship program where we went around to businesses asking for donations to help support the arts. And from that, we raised about $14,000. So you can see that we were at a $12,000 deficit. We kind of made most of that up right there, simply by going around and asking businesses. Our rental income was on budget despite being closed a number of months. We managed to get a number of COVID-related grants and wage subsidies that total around $10,000. For the town of Neepawa, we came here, and I think the previous year we got $10,000 from you, and that's what we based our budget on. But joyfully, we got $15,000, so it was an extra $5,000 that we made up right away in our budget. And also, we had a summer student grant for about $7,500, which is more than we've had before. Just because of COVID, they were paying a bigger piece of the pie, I guess. So we managed to increase our revenue in those ways. We also reduced some costs in a lot of different ways, but you can see the very last one was the one that we saved the most money. The fact that when COVID hit, that we did not rehire a bookkeeper saved us approximately $10,000 in wages. So for all of these reasons, we actually went from a $12,000 deficit to a $29,000 profit. This is a one-time thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is not something we anticipate doing every year, just to let you know. In fact, this was our sponsorship program last year that we presented to people, and that's what raises about $14,000. Now the thing is, we promised our sponsors that they would get recognition in our building. When our building was closed for half of the year, we can't really go back to those sponsors and say, thank you very much, now give us more money. Would you give us more money to support the arts? Because they didn't really get what they bargained for last year. So as a board, we've decided that everyone who sponsored, all the businesses who sponsored last year, we just rolled it over to a 2-year sponsorship. So that's, we can't count on that money for this year. We've made some recent improvements. All of these things, they almost all cost money. Well, they all cost money, but they also cost labor, except for anything that was painting. The painting that we painted a lot of areas, that was free labor. All it cost us was paint, a couple $100 in paint. But the rest of it, of course, we had to pay for fixtures and parts and people, I guess. So those are improvements we made this year. These are things we still have to do. So it's not like we're done, our improvements, but these are still things that we have to do. And of course, it doesn't take into account things that might happen. For example, our furnace might go. We don't know. I mean, if it does, we're in trouble, right? Somebody's computer might go, and there goes our balanced budgets as soon as we have to buy one new computer. So, but anyways, these are the projects that we have next, I guess, or anticipating in the future. Some of them are very expensive, some of them not so much. But the most important thing is we're working to pay off the mortgage. One of the things we applied for this year was a loan from the feds. It was actually a $60,000 loan, and we have to pay back $40,000 in 2 years, which means we get to keep $20,000. So we got that loan. We are planning on keeping that $40,000 somewhere under somebody's mattresses to make sure we never spend it. And we took the $20,000, we're going to be using that to pay off part of our mortgage. So that was a huge thing, that $20,000 bonus for us that we'll get, that we'll use over 2 years. So. Because you probably want to know this is our current funding, and our earned revenue this year was way down from last year. Of course, we're closed for almost half the year. Our non-government support donations were up this year, and that's mostly from the $14,000 that we asked for from private businesses. And then the revenue from government sources, the feds, was up substantially. That was in the COVID-related, mostly the COVID-related support. Provincial was up a little bit, right, Ray?
Yeah.
Again, COVID-related. Municipal was, you can see, municipal, you guys know, you gave us $15,000 last year. Look what else we got from municipal. So, there you go. And so last year, our total was about $119,000 revenue. And of course, as you know, we didn't have that much expenditures, and we did make a profit last year. So this is your funding history, I suppose. Goes back to 2010, a couple of years of $12,000. It dropped dramatically in 2016, and then it's come back up recently. So just for your information, this is the funding history. We'll try and include this every time we make a presentation, so you know a bit of that. At the top it says, how does Arts Forward meet the town of Neepawa's goals? Well, one of your goals is support a quality lifestyle. I did talk about this last year as well, and I used the same slide. Quality lifestyle, of course, includes essential services and non-essential services. The artistic and cultural activities is the biggest thing on the right. Well, not because it's the most important necessarily, but it's because it's the one I'm here to talk about. But I want you to realize, we're not the only non-essential service. There's lots of non-essential services. That's the one we're focusing on tonight. And we got to make sure that we don't leave that out of the equation for sure. So, I'm at the point where this is our big ask this year. If the town invests $15,000, we can balance our budget. We can't cover the cost of unexpected things like replacements of anything, but we can balance our budget, we believe. It's our best guess. It can't allow us to do these kinds of things. The hardwood finishing and stuff like that, that's very expensive. We're not sure what we're going to have to do there, but it's not in the near future. But we can balance our budget. And again, what's in the purple at the very bottom, I know I've talked about this pretty much every year. It would be great if we just had a guaranteed annual grant every year, so we didn't have to guess how much we have. We balanced our budget this year, we think, with an anticipated $1,500. But of course, if we get, $15,000. If we get less, of course, our budget isn't balanced, and so now we need to scramble. So it would be great, at least if it was guaranteed, but a certain amount was guaranteed. We'd love it if somehow that was discussed and passed. I'm not sure if that's possible or not, but that's probably our biggest ask, some sort of guarantee. All right. I believe that's my presentation. Any questions or comments at this time?
I have a question.
Sure.
So, do you anticipate hiring a bookkeeper or even half-time or full-time? Is that something that you budgeted for your 2021?
We have budgeted, yes, we have budgeted some for that. We have not anticipated that we would have a bookkeeper for the full year.
Right.
Obviously, because we're not going to look at hiring a bookkeeper until we get back to normal. Because even if we're at orange capacity, there's just not enough work for two people to do. Rain has actually picked up the reins and has learned bookkeeping.
Oh, good.
So she's doing both. She's doing both things right now. And so, but when, of course, we're back at full capacity, one person can't handle both jobs.
Right.
But for now, so we sort of budgeted so that we thought we might hire a bookkeeper for half of the fiscal year. That's how we budgeted.
Anybody else? He gave such a great presentation that we have no questions. I guess if there's nothing else, I just want to take a moment, Ron, and say, you know, I've sat on a local board for 20 years, and I mean, I know that there's lots of challenges that come along with that, and I know having a good board, having good staff is important, but I think on behalf of the council, I think we just want to say, you know, we appreciate the passion you bring to your job and the hard work you bring to your job and your commitment to the community, so thank you.
Yes, thank
Thank you. All right.
Just wanted to say, if you have any questions at any time, please do call or send us an email. Probably email's better right now, because there's no one in the office, but you can leave a message if you want to. Or Facebook or anything. I'm happy to answer any questions you might come up with later on.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And we're not sure how these new regulations that just they're coming up Friday. We don't really know how it's going to impact us yet, so.
We kind of don't know week to week if we're going to be open or not, so,
No.
as most people.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, moving on. I know we're in the middle of January. Does anybody have any council reports? Councilor Zoe?
Yes. One of the new committees I'm on Rossburn Subdivision Trail, we had a meeting last night, and it's really unique to see how long this trail is, you know, 193 kilometers approximately. And we have a request from them. There are grants that we can apply for from the trail side. Is there anything in our area along the trail that we want to improve? Does anyone know of anything? Councilor Peter?
There was just the issue in the Rosedale section of a couple of signs that keep getting taken down by the farmer crossing the trail in from one field to the other. But we do have our signage up. I guess we should talk about adding our bike park part of the trail to that, onto their maps. That would be an item that you might want to pursue, Jason, or Councilor.
Yeah. That's good.
I
Thank you.
forgot about that, so you can pick up my slack there, please.
Oh, no. No, it's a neat little group, and last night we even had our AGM, so it was a double meeting, eh?
Yeah.
So it was one of those,
So where did you have it?
oh, it was a Zoom meeting
Oh, was it? Okay.
because of health
Yeah,
regulations, but
There's always food at that meeting.
yeah, I know, because I've been to a couple of them.
from your own fridge to these streets.
yeah. No, yeah, I just wanted to kind of update you. So this is my third meeting now with them. In the short time I've taken on that role, so, yeah, very active group.
Okay, thank you. Any other council reports? Councilor Parrott?
Yeah, so we had a Public Works meeting earlier on today, and because this is budget time of the year and the Finance Committee is going to be wanting to know what we're needing in the Public Works territory, we did a lot of discussion on that, which, you know, hovered around underground and above ground needs of the community, and you know, of course, this is all balanced with capital needs of the community and long-range planning. So we'll be meeting again and then trying to make a presentation that is palatable to the Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, any comments? Okay, anybody else with a report? Okay, moving on. We have Manager of Operations, Denise, going to talk to us a little bit.
Thank you, Mayor McCutcheon. My report will be pretty light too. We had an infrastructure meeting, so we pitched some ideas back and forth of what we saw forthcoming for this year. And again, we'll meet with finance, see if they feel our pitch makes sense and it can work with the budget. We do have our skilled labor 3 position posted right now. It's been on our website and online. I believe it'll be posted in this week's paper. So anyone looking to fill that position, it's open for a little bit longer. Still getting a few complaints about snow clearing around town, so we still go and investigate those, see if they're warranted or how we're going to address those. And staff still are collecting and clearing off snow here and there. For the most part, I'm quite satisfied at this point that they've been cleaned. Staff will continue to pick away at them nonetheless. And Seaver Machinery has been out again watching sidewalks and clearing those off. So just residents be vigilant on sidewalks. We did get that rainy weather, so stuff is icy. We have been sanding and salting it, but again, be cautious. We don't want to see anyone slips and fall there. So, is there any other questions from council? I guess the other big one is just, budgeted with infrastructure, but also we've been plugging away numbers for every other line item in there too, so.
Councilor Gerard, I just have one question, and it was not to put you on the spot. When we start talking snow removal in the community, do you have a rough idea of what, when we commit to the large equipment coming in to do a snow removal, typically what that cost is to the ratepayer when we come in for a mass?
A large scale, all hands on deck clearing could cost us about $10,000 to clear a snow event. This last event, driving around seeing more what staff has removed, because that was performed I think on December 23rd. It was a lighter clearing, and that may have been in part just due to both contractors may have had minimal staff just due to Christmas holidays coming in place. So the next event that we do have, there'll be probably a more thorough clearing happen. So we'll get into that base there that's frozen down, or any of this rutting that's kind of softened up and refrozen again. So our next clearing I anticipate will cost substantially in that realm of $10,000 again.
Just, for the ratepayers to understand, when we, I know snow and what we can see inconvenience, but what the actual cost to the ratepayer is when we do a major clearing event, what that number looks like.
It is, and it snow's good and bad, right? It's a pain to drive on, but it also helps insulate our streets. So we minimize how much frost goes down to any of our vulnerable infrastructure that may not be as deep as we'd like it to be. So we slow those pipes from being frozen if there are any of those regions that are susceptible to that. So like I said, snow on the streets is a good thing, and on the boulevards it's a good thing to help insulate and reduce that frost going down.
Thank you.
Okay. Nothing else? Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we're going to have a fairly short meeting tonight. I think we're just down to other business. So if there's not, anybody have anything else they want to talk about? Councilor.
Well, I can maybe mention the AMM, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities side of things. We're now in our spring district meetings where we go around and we visit the municipalities that we represent and listen to them present the issues that they may have just for their municipality, or issues that may be a blanket, which all other municipalities would have. And the AMM records all this information, and then we lobby the provincial government on behalf of the municipalities. And so far the meetings, which we've had 5 or 6 already now this week, and Neepawa tomorrow, they've been very productive, and municipalities are not alone. There's a lot of common problems, and there's a lot of common successes. And the great thing is that the councillors are all working together for the betterment of their communities. So it was very nice to see so many positive people working for others.
So did you ever get one common question throughout all the different municipalities?
Okay. One of the issues is called downloading onto the municipality's provincial responsibilities. So if you think about provincial roads, if it's a gravel road, we have 466 in Rosedale, and the RM of Rosedale are the ones that plow that road and grade that road and all that. And the province would pay under contract a fee for service. The issue is that The contracts used to be 3 years, now they're 1 year, so budgeting is difficult. And that the actual amount of money the province delivers for that service is less than the service is costing. If a road is a 4-pass road for a grader as opposed to a 2-pass, it still receives the same fee. And if the municipalities do not sign contracts and allow the province to take on the job or contract it out to another contractor, then quality of service is usually an issue, timing is an issue, but the municipalities one gets phoned about it. So that, that's a fairly straightforward issue, one that is simple enough to deal with, but then there's a lot of intricate issues that are entangled with past agreements and past unknowns and new regulations. The biggest problem being new regulations that are crippling the ability of municipalities to make large-scale changes with small-scale revenue.
So when you pass that information up to the government, do you get the impression they are looking at it seriously and reviewing it, and they will come back to you with an answer?
We have had the benefit of the government listening to us seriously. In some instances, we've had some major improvements and better ears. We've had some changes recently in a couple of the departments where the new representatives have created a far better relationship with AMM.
Okay, good.
But overall, I haven't heard of any negative relationships. Some are just getting better.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Okay, anybody else have anything? Otherwise, I think that is it for tonight. We shall move on to adjournment. Moved by Councilor Pudlow, seconded by Councilor Kostenchuk. Be it resolved that the Council of Town Neepawa do now adjourn this regular meeting of Council at 7:30 p.m. All in favor? Carried.